lender, not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots to unite actions you can take. How your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it. While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Bunsen Burner Day. Well, we might be needing those soon. National Crayon Day, National Prom Day. Not going to be exciting on that one this year, I am afraid. Clams on the half shell. Yeah, we like that one. And National Tater Tot Day. So we'll go with that one as well. We like both of those. Let's take a look at the markets for you this morning. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 43.91. We were up quite a bit more than that. A lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, so there's a lot of question marks in the market. The markets do not like uncertainty, and obviously we have got more than our share of uncertainty right now, so the markets are not too excited by all of this. S&P 500 up 1.11. Oil up 24 cents a barrel. Should we even look? Sometimes I look just for the fun of it to see what is happening in the oil market. What is it meaning? And obviously here in Venezuela, we don't get the prices that we really should or what the rest of the country is because we like taxes here. Just throw that out there for you. But let's see if we can pull up the gasoline prices, nationwide numbers, see what they look like right now. And yes, I get, what is it, over $1 a gallon now that we're looking at in gasoline right here in California. But something, as my friends always say, yes, it is what it is. So let's see if I can. My computer seems to be working kind of like me today. Maybe it's like you as well. A little bit of slow motion. Are you going in slow motion? Is it a little odd now when we're not in our normal places at our normal times, where we get into these habits? And I have noticed in many instances, people are talking about the idea that we should maintain our habits. We should stick with the idea of getting up at a normal time, getting dressed. If you're able to work from home, do so. Get a little exercise in. Obviously, I don't do that exercise part, but we should be doing that as well. And I'm not able to get the numbers coming in for gas prices. I don't know why they don't seem to be wanting to populate in my computer. Maybe my computer thinks that it is home, because we've got a lot to talk about today when we talk about the government rescue funds under the CARE Act. The small business portion, the big businesses, they've got their people. They've got people that can do all this stuff for them. Generally, you and I don't have that. We don't understand what's going on, and we listen to the news. We try and get information from snippets, and the snippets don't really give us everything that's going on. And as I've shared, if you were with us yesterday, you probably heard me say that I've got a very dear friend of mine that works with Small Business Administration. And some of the information that we're hearing on the news channels, on the business channels, don't quite happen to line up with what they're talking about when they go to the SBA itself. They're getting some information there, and they're getting different input from what many of us are hearing as far as what is the plan for getting money to you under the CARE Act if you're a small business owner, if you're a solopreneur, if you are the individual that has got a restaurant. What are all those issues? Well, they're not quite getting the same data that you and I are getting. And the banks, many of the banks are not even open. So they're not getting the information out there. They don't have the understanding of how to get you money. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. How do I know what I know? Because that's what you should be asking. How do I know what I know? And I'm going to tell you that is just, again, from a very dear friend of mine who does work at the Small Business Administration, work for the Small Business Administration. So we're going to get that information directly from him and see if we can give that a little bit of that to you. God, the gas prices did populate now on my computer. National average 199.7. California, we're at $3.04, so over $1 a gallon more than the national average. 155 is the cheapest gas in the land. That is in Oklahoma. Arkansas is at 172. Looking at gas prices, are going to probably drop significantly. We are hearing that in many, many areas. And the supply of gasoline, that is a big problem in the marketplace. There's way too much gasoline. And I noted this morning, Saudi Arabia said they're going to increase their production of gasoline. Why would they be increasing their production of gasoline? Well, the answer to that is quite simply because they can. Well, actually, it's because Syria and Libya are decreasing their production. So Saudi Arabia is trying to pick up the steam, but they're also looking at seeing how can they try and get rid of some of the U.S. fracking and get that off the market. We might have to help out some of our oil producers just to make sure that they don't get hurt in this pandemic as well as everybody else. Why? Well, because we want to remain oil independent, energy independent. Have we not learned something from the coronavirus, where we're getting a lot of companies that, where we've got too much dependency on foreigners, where we've got too much dependency. Right now we're dependent on medicines from China. Do we really want to do that in other areas of our economy? I would suggest probably not. It's probably not a good idea to do that, but we'll see what ends up happening here as we continue throughout this entire learning curve. What else is going on in the marketplace before we get into our intriguing content for the day? If I can find my reports here, there they are. Let's see. We've got some numbers I know have come out this morning. We're going to get into those in a little bit. The U.S. Navy ship Comfort, that one arrived in New York to a big fanfare of people. Have you ever seen the size of that ship? I mean, it looks like a city right there. A lot of folks in New York decided they were going to go and welcome the ship. Hopefully they stayed away from each other, not too close, but they did get out there and welcome that ship into the harbor. Secretary of State Pompeo warns every country must step up and provide accurate, transparent information about the coronavirus. China, do you hear that? Russia, Iran, North Korea. Yeah, I doubt that's going to really happen, but they say that it's a good soundbite that they're going to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see. I'm going to look if I can get the numbers up on the coronavirus. I think I've got that on my computer here somewhere. What is the latest numbers? And I find the best numbers come out right out of Johns Hopkins University in medicine. Total number of confirmed cases, 809,000 around the country. Yeah. Total number of deaths, again, I'm sorry, that's around the world, not the country. 39,545 deaths around the world. 172,869 recovered. That's a big number right there, and that's a number that we really want to be making sure that we're getting that information out to people. Is the number of confirmed recoveries, because a lot of people think that it's not. There is no hope. Once you have the virus, you're done for, and that's really not the case. That's not what we have seen. The people that get a cold and are suffering from what they think is a cold or a flu, and then they recover. Well, they're not getting tested, so they don't get into these numbers at all. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find it in today's numbers. I know we had this little bit of a challenge on this yesterday. Kind of gets 165,000 confirmed cases across the U.S., 3,178 confirmed deaths across the U.S. Orange County, 464 confirmed cases, 4 deaths, 460 active. And, I don't want to make light of the fact that there are people dying. That's not my point here at all, because every death is a family member to somebody, and it's not what we're looking for. But the bottom line is we also want to make sure that we don't have a lot of people out there panicking, because that can really be, if you watch the news and the history of the Great Depression, that was just as terrible as the events of the Great Depression. Was the people that did panic, the people that ended up taking their own lives because they didn't feel that they had any hope, that they were losing everything. So we urge you, if that's your case, get a hold of your clergy. Get a hold, oh, wait a second. According to the New York Times, it is the Christians in the U.S. that caused this problem. Unbelievable. That's the New York Slimes. Maybe we should just call them that, the New York Slimes, because they are not a real broadcast or a news entity any longer. But just throw that out there for you. Be careful of what news sources you're listening to. And are they really a news source? Or they times really is they're a propaganda arm, and I don't know. So be real careful of the news or the so-called news. I had somebody shared some information on one of my socials this morning, and my comment was, something I've seen that on social media, and I haven't seen it myself, so I'm not going to dispute it. I'm just going to say, unless I see verification, I'd rather get something a little more knowledgeable than just a social media post. And remember, even when somebody says, something I saw it myself, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're giving the full report. If you notice the CNN reporter that made a comment, again, the Cannabis News Network, you really can't trust anything they say anymore. They made the comment that the president wanted the governors to appreciate him, and never finished the commentary where the president said, When you don't appreciate, you're not appreciating the hard work that the FEMA people are doing and that the Army Corps of Engineers are doing. And it's not about him, it's about these other people that are all going the extra mile. But they didn't want to tell you that part of it. So sometimes you hear something and you hear a piece of it, and people want you to believe that that is the whole story. And sometimes that's not necessarily the case. So just be careful of what you're listening to, who you're listening to. You are listening right now, I can tell you for sure, to Ron Siegel Radio, where we only discuss items that affect your house and your bank account. When we come back, we are going to talk about the CARE Act, small business, how that affects you. We're also going to talk a little bit about the economic impact of buying a home. What does that do for the economy? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. The replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. In the Mortgage Minute today, being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products. You just need to make the call again, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. So what is happening in the mortgage world right now? It is a chaotic world in the mortgage market. I've shared that with you. It's been a bit of a rocky ride in the mortgage world. It's a rocky ride in a lot of the world of finance right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average now down almost 36 points. NASDAQ up 15 points. The S&P 500 up 2.81. 10-year Treasury, the yield is down 1 basis point to 0.666. And the mortgage-backed securities down 20 basis points. Normally that would be, I would be saying that's an unfortunate number, because normally that's going to tell us that interest rates are going up. But right now we really need some help from the mortgage-backed security world to try and help us get out of some of the problems that we're in the mortgage world. There are some areas where we need to get some information out there. Actually need some help with my microphone too. That's just not wanting to cooperate with me here. We've got this new setup, and we're still trying to figure out exactly how the best sound comes from it. But what's happening in the mortgage world, or what we're seeing in the mortgage world, is that there's such an influx of business right now where people are thinking that they're going to get more from their interest rates than they are, and it's overflowing the system. And there's a lot of mortgage companies getting margin calls because the bonds were going up so much, yet they buy a hedge in case of this happening. And it gets kind of complex. If you want the full article on how to understand it, you can go to MBE Links, Mary Boy Edward Links, plural, links.com/insights, plural. MBElinks.com/insights. You can actually get a copy of exactly why we're seeing what we're seeing in the mortgage world. But right now, we've talked to you a little bit about where the stocks are. They're down a little bit. Mortgage bonds are down a little bit, which is a good thing. We actually want bonds to move lower to help the lenders to get through this time and not be upside down on their hedged, locked loans. Lots going to depend on the Fed. They're starting to hear us, we think. Yesterday, the Federal Reserve scheduled to buy $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities and cut that basically in half to $21 billion. I would rather see that at zero. It is an improvement. Momentum traders, something else interesting has been happening. The past 2 weeks, the Fed announced that they were going to be buying a ton of MBS. As a result, traders also bought because they wanted to generate gains and ride the train higher, supported by the Fed. This only exacerbated the problem of mortgage-backed securities moving higher. Yesterday, with the Fed cutting their intended purchases in half, we also saw that those momentum traders back off, which is why MBS closed the day lower. Let's hope the trend continues. According to the CARES Act, some of you may be eligible for a forbearance. Be careful. This is something that will be misunderstood by the customer, by you. You're going to think that you don't have to make a payment and will be forgiven. Think about paying for something at a furniture store where it says no payments for 3 months. You still have to pay it eventually. After the period of time, you're going to have to make payments. They'll eventually have to catch up. It may be all at once, but it will spread out likely. If you get too deep in the hole, they could be putting the equity in your home at risk. The scary part is that verification process to qualify for this is not great or thorough. This could cause issues if everyone tries to take advantage of the forbearance. So think about this. You go out and you go to the local furniture store, and it says 6 months, same as cash, right? At the end of 6 months, if you haven't paid that off completely, you get that interest all the way back to day one. Well, the way these forbearances are is they're letting you skip 3 mortgage payments, but then when you get back to the point of at the end of that 3 months, they're going to say, okay, all of that is due at one time. And that's not a good idea. So you end up saying, okay, I can't afford that. Now what happens? Well, not only are you in the forbearance area, your interest does not stop. That continues. It's not like the same as cash with the furniture store, that if you make that entire payment at the end of the time period, the interest is waived. No, it doesn't work that way on the home loans. Your interest is still accruing and your payment is due at the end of that 3-month forbearance, can you afford it many more 3 months from now than you can today? Do you expect to have that big of a windfall of money coming in? Especially right here in Southern California, that check that's coming from the government, that's going to help in certain parts of the country. But in Southern California, that check that the government is sending out probably is not going to help as much as it does. It's going to help them there, but not as much here in Southern California. You're not going to be able to make up all 3 payments based on the money that comes from the government. So be careful of doing this. Be careful of what the unintended consequences are. If you're able to make your mortgage payment, please, please, please continue to make the mortgage payment. Economic news, the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is considered the gold standard for appreciation, was released. Case-Shiller has a few indices, 2 of which we pay the most attention to, the National Index and the 20-City Index. The National Index, which covers all 9 U.S. Census divisions, reported a 3.9% annual gain in January, which was an increase from 3.7% in December. The 20-City Index from 2.8% to 3.2% on a year-over-year basis. Phoenix, 6.9%, Seattle, 5.1%, Tampa, 5.1%. So we'll probably share a chart on this a little bit, but mostly it's covering Seattle, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tampa, Denver, so I might not even share that. While this is normally a very important number, it's lagging significantly and showing appreciation from January 2019 to January 2020. This is way back in the rearview mirror, not a whole lot. How is the coronavirus affecting GDP? The early estimates were to be down 6%, which has been revised to down 9%. Second quarter, it's expected to be down 34% down in the second quarter. Shocking and clearly spells a recession this year. Mortgage bonds trading in a wide range. We've talked about that one. I'm not going to go into that anymore. And I've shared with you about the idea here of what we're talking about with the idea, especially, and I said this right after it happened, how irresponsible it was for Governor Newsom to be telling people that everybody gets to skip their mortgage payments. Very, very irresponsible. You can't take that out of context and go that way. It's just not a good idea. So we're going to continue on our mission to try and give you accurate information, usable information, and not continue with some of this stuff that's coming out of the federal government, state government, and whatnot. Be very, very careful right there. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, the economic impact of buying a home and the CARES Act, what it's going to mean for small business. How do you go about getting some of that money to try and help you keep afloat and keep your employees as well? You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. In the real-time real estate segment today, being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. NEST, N-E-S-T, 79564. Again, find your dream home before someone else does. If you've already found your dream home, text SLT Home Digest to 79564. SLT Home Digest to 79564. They're going to tell you exactly what the county recorder knows about your property, exactly what the market thinks about your property. Get all that information is free. Again, you can text SLT Home Digest to 79564. You get that information. Again, we put that out for you. We're constantly collecting the data. We're using a lot of the data sources that we use for reports on the broadcast. And then we collect it for your neighborhood, for your information, to try and get that off to you. So let's chat a little bit about what this means for your real estate, for your home, the economic impact of buying a home. We're in a changing real estate market. Life in general is changing too, from how we grocery shop, meal prep, to the ways we can interact with our friends and neighbors, even practices for engaging with agents, lenders, and all the players involved in a real estate transaction are changing to a virtual format. What isn't changing, however, is one key thing that can drive the local economy. This always works. I've shared this with somebody just the other day, somebody that is very, very knowledgeable in real estate, and they weren't familiar with the idea of exactly how much of an impact we find with real estate on the marketplace and what the impact is of when somebody's actually buying a home. We're all impacted in different ways by the effect of the coronavirus. If you're in a position to buy a home today, know that you're a major economic force in your neighborhood. And while we all will patiently for the current economic, easy for me to say, while we all wait patiently for the current pandemic to pass, there are a lot of things you can do in the meantime to keep your home search on track. Every year, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, shares a report that notes the full economic impact of home sales. The report summarizes the total economic impact, this is a quote, of real estate-related industries on the state economy, as well as the expenditures that result from a single home sale, including aspects like home construction costs, real estate brokerage, mortgage lending, and title insurance. So if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, you can actually see the breakdown of how the average home sale boosts the economy, the average economic impact of one home sale in the U.S. Again, this is a national number. So when we're talking about national numbers, when we start talking about what this means in Southern California, the numbers are going to always be greater in Southern California because many of them are numbers that are proprietary, that are national. And we're looking at numbers here that are significantly larger than the overall marketplace. So you look and see $84,724 income generated from real estate industries, $23,000 total impact, expenditures related to the home purchase, $4,200, multiplier of housing related expenditures, $13,000, new home construction, $43,600. So you see all those numbers on there. It has a big impact. When you buy a home, you are making an impact. You're fulfilling your need for shelter and a place to live. Also generating jobs and income for the appraiser, the loan officer, the title company, the real estate agent, and many more contributors to the process. For every person or business that you work with throughout the transaction, there's also likely a team behind the scenes making it all happen. So the effort multiplies substantially. As noted above in the article or in the chart that I'm sharing, the impact is almost double when you purchase new construction, given the extra labor it requires to build a home. So I'm going to also show you then a little bit of what this means in our state, because our state is not necessarily the same as every state in the union. Again, I shared with you that the numbers for the national, but the report breaks down the average economic impact by state. And you can see right here in Taxifornia, We have $173,000 economic impact every time a home is bought. Every time a home is bought. As a buyer, you have an essential need for a home, and you can make an essential impact with home ownership too. That need for shelter, comfort, and a safe place to live will always be alive and well. And whenever you're able to act on that need, whether now or later, you'll truly be creating gains for you, your family, local business professionals, and the overall economy. Bottom line, when you purchase a home, you're an economic driver. Even if you're not ready and able to make a move now, there are things you can do to keep your own process moving forward so you're set when the time is right for you. Let's chat about what's going on in your life, in your situation, your scenario, because every one of them is a little bit different. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Again, NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. If you already found that dream home, text SLT Home Digest to 79564. SLT Home Digest to 79564. So I did share with you that we were going to give you some information on small business, the CARES Act. And I can tell you this, that the major issue of what we're seeing right now in the marketplace is people believing that they're able to go and just walk into the bank. And I've heard this on so many radio stations. Walk into the bank, you can get your money. Well, the banks don't know the process yet. I can tell you that firsthand. I've talked to the folks over at the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and they're going to be the ones managing this. And there's a Paycheck Protection program. That's what they're going to be using for getting this money out. It prioritizes millions of Americans employed by small businesses by authorizing up to $349 billion. I don't know why they come up with $349 billion toward job retention and certain other expenses. Small businesses and eligible nonprofit organizations, veterans organizations, tribal businesses described in the Small Business Act, as well as individuals who are employed or independent contractors are eligible if they also meet program size standards. Under the program, eligible recipients may qualify for up to $10 million, and it's determined by 8 weeks of prior average payroll plus an additional 25% of that amount. Loan amounts will be deferred for 6 months if you maintain your workforce. The SBA is going to forgive the portion of the loan proceeds that are used to cover the first 8 weeks of payroll and certain other expenses following that loan origination. So that's all part of what they call the 7A program at the SBA. There are parts of the 7B program. These are all programs that are at the SBA already, but the SBA just does not know exactly what's going on. The SBA doesn't, all the employees there, maybe it's still working its way down from Washington, but it hasn't got all the way down as to what's going on and how they do these things. And like I say, we're going to be helping a lot of small businesses out with this. I'm not trying to plug us. I'm just trying to give you some information to help you. Now, what can you do today? Because I'm going to share with you that most of the banks are not ready for you at this point. But what you can do right now is you can start collecting some documents on what may be important to you as far as what you're going to need for getting the loans, and just collect the documents, get them all put together, set up a folder on your desktop, on your computer, and figure some of these things out. What they're going to want to know, you're going to need some business financial statements. I'm going to tell you, and again, I'm giving you what we're expecting because it's not out yet. But we've been led to believe you're going to need some financial statements from March of 2019 through the end of February 2020. So what I would say is, hey, just grab a full profit and loss statement for 2019 and a year-to-date statement from January and February of 2020. If you're on a calendar year business, you're going to need that information. You're going to need some ownership and affiliations. You're going to need to include the names of all of the officers of your company. You're going to need your business certificate or license, your EIN number. You may need tax returns. We don't know whether it's about that one yet, personal and business. You're going to probably need to get a copy of your business lease if you have one. Those are some of the things that we're anticipating. Those are all normal items for the 7A program. The 7B program is a little bit more intense, so I'm not going to go too much into that one because they do say you need 2 years worth of business tax returns and 2 years worth of personal tax returns. Don't know if you're going to need that yet. Again, if you're collecting documents, you might want to grab those and just say, you know, something, that way you're ready when it comes out. If you don't need them, don't send them. And then there's going to be obviously the typical amount of forms. I'm looking at the checklist of forms. And again, I don't want you to go crazy on all this. Sole proprietor, SBA form 2202, SBA form 413, P019, 1368, 4506T, 8821, 159D. These are all the different forms that they're looking at completing. Now, if you want to go through, I'm sure that you're going to be able to do all those forms on your own. I have no doubt that you'll be able to do all those forms on your own. You can go and do them. If you don't want to do them, if you don't have the time to do them, if you don't have the knowledge or desire to do them, I'm going to suggest that there are going to be services out there. There are people that are going to go out there and try and gouge you to do this. Obviously, that's not where we are. That's not what we do. But we want to be available to help. So if you do need some help with this, all the way from the basis to the done for you whole package, you know, just write our number down, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. You can reach out to me, Ron at ronsiegelradio.com, Ron at ronsiegelradio.com. We'll see what we can do to assist with all of this different information here for you. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more information on the CARES Act for small business portion. That's really what we're focused on, is how we can help the small businesses. Again, you can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We're continuing our conversation this morning. We're talking about the Small Business Administration program for the part of the CARE Act. And it's a program for small businesses to try and keep people working. So who is eligible for this program? It's nonprofits, veteran organizations, tribal concerns, sole proprietorships, self-employed, independent contractors described in the Small Business Act with 500 or fewer employees. Businesses in certain industries may have more than 500 employees if they meet the SBA's size standards for those industries. So real estate agents, if you are a sole proprietor, if you file that business return, if you're a CPA, a lawyer, insurance agents, you're all part of this program. You probably can get some assistance if you need it. There are other programs out there in response to the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. Small business owners in all United States, Washington, D.C., territories are currently eligible for that disaster assistance. There's enhanced debt relief is also available in the SBA's other business loan programs to help small businesses overcome these challenges. So part of the issue is all going to be getting yourself ready for it, getting prepared for what is needed. There's going to be a lot of documentation. The SBA always has that. The Small Business Administration designated states and territories low-interest federal disaster loans for working capital as well. So, when you see some of the different things that go on, the hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes, fires, all of those areas where you've got some of this relief, think about those areas. That's what you're going to be looking at in all these different programs. So just be aware that the relief is coming. The question is, are you going to be able to do it on your own, or are you going to need some help collecting the documents, understanding what is required? If they're claiming there is a streamlined process, and I understand when you just look at the forms online that you can actually be looking at 2 to 3 hours of just filling out the forms of what they're going to require from you. So be aware, plan some time for it. If you've got the time right now where your business is closed, now might be a great time to get involved in it. I've shared this with you. But again, I can tell you that from the people inside at the SBA, they don't all exactly know what's going to be going on with that. Again, you can't be dealing with any kind of illegal activities. It's not going to be working on work there. It's not the Protect program, not an agricultural enterprise. They have noted that one as well as being outside the bounds. You cannot be involved in a business of lobbying. That's not available there. Can't get more than 1/3 of your gross revenue from legal gambling activities. So again, they're trying to be cautious on some of these different things. So just watch some of the eligibilities and follow the forms along. Again, if you need some help, give us a call at 800-306-1990. We don't know how much we're going to be able to do to help you with these things. We don't know what the process is all going to be yet. But as I've mentioned to you before, we do have some friends that work for the SBA right now that we're consulting with, hoping that they'll be able to get us some good insight so we can get that information right to you. And we're going to build up some staff as well to try and get a done-for-you program. I don't know about you, but I know there's a lot of areas that people tell me, you can do that yourself, Ron. I'm the first one to come out and say, something, you're probably right. I could do it myself, but I'd rather pay somebody else to do it for me, knowing it's done right, and let me go do what I do. Let me help one more family with their home loan strategy while the handyman sets up the table that I'm sitting at right here, right now. Right? I mean, I probably could have followed those instructions. It's probably taken me 6 months to do it. He did it in a couple of hours. right? Again, the same thing that I'm saying with the form that you fill out for the SBA. I think they say it's going to take 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours and 30 minutes to do it. You know, somebody that's done 100 of them probably could do it in an hour, but you may not be that person. You may not even want to go through and read all of the questions on there. It's like going through and doing your taxes. The only difference is we don't have a service that's going to be able to go out there and figure that out for you. There's no Intuit, there's no QuickBooks, there's nothing along those lines. So if you need some help on it, give us a call again, 800-306-1990. Try and take care of the employees. That's our whole focus. Look out for your neighbors and keep your chin up. We're the United States. We will get by this. We will beat this. We will win. And if you have questions, call me. Remember, set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.